That's a common misconception that the officer has to show you his radar gun or LiDAR unit or whatever he used to obtain your speed. But in Maryland, they actually cannot lock the speed in. It basically comes down to the officer's word against your word. And the officer is presumably using certified equipment. He was properly trained. Well, in Maryland, a lot of the police departments use laser or LiDAR to obtain your speed. That's essentially, it's a laser unit. And the officer has the laser unit, and on top of it is a reticle sight with a little red dot in it, and they place that red dot on the front of your car, which is typically the license plate. They pull the trigger and it shoots out 3 beams of light that bounce off your car, come back to the unit. It gives the officer your speed within 1 mile an hour, and also gives the officer the distance between you and the officer to within 1/10 of a foot. And it's a vehicle specific use, or it's a vehicle specific technology. Now, there are ways of fighting that as far as did the officer check the equipment properly. When it comes to radar, the radar beam is quite wide, and what they do is they have what's called a Doppler tone, which is an audible sound. The higher the pitch and the louder it is means the stronger the signal. And it doesn't get the fastest speed that comes back to it, it just gets the strongest speed. And what they do is they look to see basically which car is going fastest, which I know sounds kind of backwards because they say it's not the fastest car, it's the strongest signal. But if whatever the strongest signal is, that means the car that's going fastest is going at least that fast. And the other thing is they also have moving radar, which means there are a lot of clients that I have that they're driving down the road and they see the police officer going the opposite direction, and the officer spins around, comes back after him. They say, well, how did they get my speed? They were driving the opposite direction. Well, they have what's called moving radar in their cruiser. It basically does math. It takes the cruiser speed. If you're coming towards the cruiser, it has to subtract the closing speed. Otherwise, it gets the closing speed, which is how fast the officer is going, plus how fast you're going. So if your officer's going 50 and you're going 50, the closing speed will be 100. It's supposed to then subtract the officer's speed, which is 50, which would give 50 as your speed. But again, there are lots of ways of fighting that and fighting errors.